Alex stood by the window of his small apartment, watching the gray morning sky over the city. He pressed his palm against the cool glass and thought of Emma, the friend who had once filled every corner of his life with laughter and light. Now, she lived hundreds of miles away, in a new city full of strangers and tall buildings. The silence in his home echoed louder than any storm. He felt a deep ache in his chest, as if a piece of his heart had gone missing when she left. Each day, Alex remembered the afternoons they spent walking in the park. He could still hear her voice, warm and playful, teasing him about his old sneakers. They had talked for hours about dreams and plans. It's about exploring new worlds together, maybe as astronauts or explorers on distant planets. Now those plans felt like fragments of a story he could not finish. Emma's departure had drawn an invisible line between them, and every memory reminded him of the space that had grown overnight. In the evenings, Alex tried to fill the empty hours with work and small tasks. He brewed coffee and stared at the office documents on his desk. When he closed his eyes, he pictured Emma's bright smile and the way she tucked her hair behind her ear when she was deep in thought. His hope flickered like a candle in the wind knot, gone, but uncertain if it could stay alight. He picked up his phone and opened their last conversation. Emma had written, "I miss you already. I'll call soon," but weeks passed without a message. Alex wanted to reach out, but he worried he might drive her away with his sadness. He felt weak for feeling so lost without her. He paced around his living room trying to imagine the right words to send. How could he show her that their friendship meant more to him than 1,000 sunsets? He knew he had to try, because hope did not grow in silence. Humanity had faced hard moments before, and humans found a way to connect even when oceans separated them. At last, Alex sat down at his desk and opened a fresh message. He wrote, "Hi, Emma. I hope your new home treats you well. I miss our talks and your laughter. I would love to hear your voice when you have a moment." His finger hovered over the send button. He held his breath and remembered how humans had built bridges across rivers and flown across oceans to be together. He pressed send. The message disappeared into the network, carried by wires and signals, but he felt it travel as a piece of his heart reaching out to hers. The next morning, Alex woke to a gentle chime on his phone. His heart leaped when he saw Emma's reply. "I miss you too, Alex. I'd love to catch up tonight. How about video chat at 8? Oh." A smile spread across his face as bright as the first light of dawn. He felt a spark of hope that burned away the shadows of loneliness. He remembered that humans were at their best when they helped each other, when they shared joy and sorrow alike. Tonight, he would look into Emma's eyes on the screen and let their friendship shine across the distance. He closed his eyes and whispered a quiet thank you to the powerful force that held all people together. Hope. That evening. Alex set up his laptop on the small kitchen table. He arranged the light so his face would be clear, and he nervously sipped tea while he waited for Emma to join the call. When her image appeared, Alex felt a wave of relief. She looked the same and different at once, her hair pulled back in, a new style, her background filled with books and houseplants. They greeted each other with shy smiles. At first, their words were simple. "How are you? And how was your day?" Alex spoke of quiet mornings and empty rooms. Emma spoke of her new job and the city's bright lights. Their voices blended across the screen, reminding Alex that distance was only space, not feeling. Emma showed him the small cafe where she worked. Behind her, customers talked and laughed. She pointed to her favorite table by the window. Alex imagined himself there with her, sharing coffee and stories. He felt pride in how she had found her place so far away. He spoke of his own cities. Challenges crowded streets and old buildings, but also of its warmth and familiar corners as they talked. Alex remembered human strength. People crossed oceans for friendship, built ships to explore new lands, and shared laughter in every language. He realized that hope was not just a feeling but an action. Calling Emma tonight was proof of that. He asked her to tell him more about her dreams for the future. Emma smiled and leaned in closer. She spoke of a plan to open a small art studio. She wanted to paint murals that reminded people of home and courage. Alex's heart swelled. He offered to help her design the first mural from afar. Together, they sketched shapes and colors on a shared virtual whiteboard. Their ideas grew like seeds in soil-bright flowers of creativity and friendship. When the call ended, Alex sat back and took a deep breath. He felt lighter than he had in weeks. He realized that hope was stronger when shared. He decided to send Emma a package filled with small gifts, a hardcover notebook for her art, his favorite tea, and a photo of the two of them laughing in the park. He packed the box with care and wrote a note. "For the next time we drink tea, together." A few days later, Alex received a message. Emma's package had arrived, and she loved it. She sent him a photo of the notebook open on her desk, its first page decorated with her sketch of the cafe table. Alex felt joy bubble inside. He wrote back, "I can't wait to see your mural someday. Until then, I will be here, cheering for you." Alex looked out his window once more. The city lights sparkled like distant stars. He no longer felt alone. He knew that no matter how far apart people might be, hope and human will could bring them together. With every message and call, they built a bridge stronger than steel. And Alex believed that one day soon, he and Emma would stand side by side and share coffee, laughter, and dreams, proof that humanity could conquer any distance. Alex woke to the soft hum of his phone buzzing beside his bed. He reached out and saw a new message from Emma. His heart raced as he read her words. "I loved the sketch you sent. I feel closer to you already." He smiled, but an ache remained. The distance between them still felt like a wide canyon. He lay back, thinking of all the times they shared laughter and dreams. Now he wondered how to keep the spark alive when miles of empty road separated them. At breakfast, Alex stirred his cereal slowly. He remembered the first time he and Emma had watched the sunrise together at the old lighthouse. Sky had glowed pink and gold, and they had promised to chase every dawn side by side. He missed that promise. He poured fresh coffee into his favorite mug when Emma had given him on his birthday, and held it close as if it carried her warmth. Even with her messages and calls, he felt her absence in every empty room. He decided to write her a letter. Writing words on paper felt more permanent than a text. Alex found a sheet of thick, cream-colored stationery and wrote at the top, "Dear Emma, I miss you more than words can say." He described his mornings without her laughter, his walks past the park bench, where they once talked for hours, and how the city felt quieter without her. He closed the letter with a promise. "I will find a way to see you soon." Folding the paper carefully, he placed it in an envelope and stamped it with an Earth's postage stamp he had saved. The next day, at work, Alex's thoughts kept drifting to Emma. He glanced at his computer screen but saw only her smile. He knew he had to act. He reached out to a travel agent friend and asked about train fares to Emma's city. When the agent quoted the price, Alex did a quick calculation in his head. It was expensive, but he told himself that friendship was worth any cost. Humanity had built cities on faraway planets and sent voices across the stars. Surely he could cross his own country to see her. That evening, Alex called Emma. He told her about the letter and his plan to visit. Her eyes lit up on the video screen. She surprised him by saying she had a small apartment with an extra couch, and she wanted him there. Alex felt hope rush through him like sunlight breaking through clouds. He booked his tickets that night, his hands trembling with excitement. On the day of his journey, Alex packed lightly, a change of clothes, the letter he had mailed, and a small gift of friendship bracelet they had made together long ago. At the train station, he watched the rails stretch into the distance. Each tick of the station clock brought him closer to Emma. He thought of all the times people had crossed deserts and oceans for love and friendship. This trip was just another proof of human will, to reach out, to connect, to care. When the train arrived in Emma's city, Alex's heart pounded. He stepped onto the platform and saw her waiting, her hair loose and eyes shining. For a moment they both stood still, as if the world had stopped for them alone. Then Emma ran forward and hugged him tightly. Alex closed his eyes and let her warmth fill the space that words alone could not reach. They spent the weekend revisiting favorite places: the cafe by the river where they first met, the quiet park where they had shared dreams, and the small bookshop that smelled of old pages. At each spot, they laughed and talked late into the night. Alex showed her the letter he had mailed, its edges softened by the journey. Emma read it aloud under the streetlights, her voice steady with emotion. Alex realized that hope was more than a feeling. It was a choice to act on care and keep connections alive. On the last morning, Emma walked Alex back to the train station. She pressed a small paper bag into his hand. Inside was a fresh sketch of the lighthouse at sunrise, with two figures standing side by side. "For when you go home," she said. "So you remember we will watch every dawn together, no matter where we are." Alex hugged her again and boarded the train. As the city skyline faded behind him, he held the sketch close and felt no emptiness. Distance no longer felt like a canyon, but like a bridge he had already crossed. Humanity, he thought, had an incredible gift: to close any gap with hope and action. And in that truth, he found strength and joy. When Alex walked into his quiet apartment, he felt the familiar hush settle around him. The suitcase lay open by the door, half unpacked. Holding the sweater Emma had given him and the friendship bracelet he had brought back, he set his bag aside and let his eyes drift to the sketch of the lighthouse at sunrise. In that simple drawing, he saw their promise shining bright. Though he was back in his own city, his heart felt lighter. He knew that humans had stretched across deserts and oceans to stand together. He carried that truth inside him now. He placed the sketch on his desk and booted up his computer. The first thing he did was call Emma. Their video chat lit up his screen, and he smiled when he saw her. She held up a small canvas showing the mural's first colors. Together, they talked about every brushstroke. Alex described how he saw the sky fade from pink to gold, and Emma told him how she painted those colors onto the wall of her studio. Even across the distance, their ideas blended as one. After the call ended, Alex felt a spark of energy. He opened a new file on his computer and began to draw digital versions of the lighthouse and the two figures beneath it. He saved each version and sent them to Emma by email. He wrote, "I want to help you plan this mural however I can." She replied within minutes, "Your ideas are amazing. I will use them in the final design." In that moment, Alex realized how humans use technology to narrow any gap. Over the next days, Alex set up their shared virtual whiteboard for planning. He sketched color palettes and shapes, and Emma added notes about which paints she would need each night. They met online to refine details. They laughed when Alex accidentally drew one window too many on the lighthouse. They cheered when they solved a tricky shading issue together. Even though they were far apart, their teamwork made them a single creative force. On a Friday evening, Alex decided to surprise Emma. He ordered art supplies and shipped them to her address. He knew she needed paintbrushes and special rollers for the mural's large sections. He wrapped each item carefully and added a note. "Here's a little help for our big project." His heart pounded as he dropped the package at the post office. No matter how far people moved away, he thought, their care could always find its way home. That weekend, Alex explored his city with fresh eyes. He thought about the mural and its message of unity. He visited the art section of the library and borrowed books on mural techniques. He read about artists who painted walls in remote villages to bring families together, about crews who built community through shared art. He felt proud of humanity's spirit people who built bridges with paint and hope. He tucked quotes from the books into his notebook for Emma to see. On Monday, Emma sent him photos of the supplies arriving and shared a progress shot of the wall's first orange stripe against the gray concrete. Alex's grin stretched wide. He sketched another draft with the orange band in place and sent it back. They messaged each other back and forth, note by note, image by image. Their collaboration was proof that hope was alive in every message sent and every plan made. One evening, Alex received an unexpected video. It was Emma standing in front of the nearly finished mural. She held up her phone camera so he could see the entire scene, the lighthouse glowing in the dawn colors. The two friends standing beneath it, arms outstretched toward the horizon. Emma waved and mouthed, "We did this together." Alex felt tears gather at his eyes. In that painting, he saw not just art, but the strength of two people who refused to let distance define them. Before he closed his laptop, Alex whispered a promise to the screen. "I will see you again soon." He shut down his desk lamp and stood by the window once more. City lights twinkled below, and he imagined Emma's mural lighting up her street. He felt a calm joy settle in his chest. Humanity had a way of rising above walls, whether of concrete or space, by sharing hope and action. And as long as they believed, every distance could become a path back to each other. That Monday morning, Alex felt a quiet excitement as he opened his inbox. Emma had sent him a new photo of the finished mural under a soft dawn sky. He studied each detail, the lighthouse glowing, the two friends reaching out across the waves. His heart swelled with pride. Even so, he missed her voice and warmth. He wondered how to show Emma just how much her friendship meant. Then he remembered the little coffee shop on Elm Street, the place where they first met for tea and talked until closing time.
How?
He decided to bring that moment back to life.
Alex
emailed Emma with a plan. He would visit her city again, and she would come to his favorite cafe next month. He wrote, "Let's make new memories in the place that started it all." He pressed send and imagined her surprise. That evening, Alex made a small scrapbook of their moments together. He printed photos of their park walks, the lighthouse, sketch, and pictures of the mural. Left spaces for new photos from Elm Street. When Emma saw the scrapbook arrive, she video called him in tears of joy. They set a date and bought train tickets. As Alex closed his laptop, he felt a fierce hope burning inside him. Humans had crossed galaxies and stories and built bridges across the stars.
How?
He and Emma would cross a few hundred miles, armed. With courage and friendship, no distance could stand in their way. The morning air felt cool as Alex stepped out of his apartment with his small suitcase in hand. He paused on the sidewalk and looked up at the sky, reminding himself how humans had sailed across oceans and flown through the sky to reach each other. Today, he would do the same, crossing hundreds of miles by train to stand face to face with Emma again. He closed his eyes for a moment and took a steady breath, filled with hope. Then he lifted his bag and set off for the station. At the train platform, Alex watched fellow travelers hurry past. A mother held her child's hand, and two friends laughed as they joked about weekend plans. Their chatter reminded him of the simple power of human bonds. Even in a crowd, people reached out to one another, helping with heavy bags, sharing a smile, or offering directions. Alex thought of Emma and the miles between them, and he felt proud that today he would bridge the gap with his own steps. Once, aboard the train, Alex found his seat by the window. He opened his notebook and wrote a quick note to Emma. "I'll be there soon." Then he pressed his pen to the page and sketched the lighthouse mural she had painted. With each line, he felt closer to her. Outside the window, fields of green and gold rolled by. He imagined each farm and town as a small island of life, connected by rails and roads. He thought of the builders who had laid these tracks generation after generation, driven by the simple human desire to meet friends and share stories. Midway through the journey, the train slowed unexpectedly at a small station. A voice over the speaker announced a brief delay for maintenance. Alex felt his heart skip, remembered feeling anxious when Emma first moved away, afraid that silence would grow too large to cross. Yet here in this moment, he saw a crew stepping onto the tracks with tools and flashlights. They worked together, communicating with nods and hand signals, determined to clear the rails quickly and safely. Alex smiled. He realized that whenever people faced obstacles, they came together and solved them. His minute of worry faded into respect for their teamwork. Back on the move, the landscape shifted to city outskirts. He saw factories with tall chimneys, parks with children playing, and bridges spanning rivers. Each structure bore witness to human strength and creativity. He thought of Emma painting her mural on a concrete wall, turning gray into color and silence into art. He thought of the scrapbook he had sent, the coffee shop where they would meet, and the notes he planned to share. His excitement beat in. Time with the train's rhythm. As the train pulled into his destination station, Alex collected his things and stepped onto the platform. The air here smelled of fresh bread from nearby bakeries and of rain on pavement. Looked around at the station's bustle, people greeting loved ones with bouquets of flowers, others hurrying off to new jobs, and families rolling suitcases. He felt part of something larger, a long chain of connections stretching across lands and hearts. He found the exit signs to Elm Street and followed them through the station. Outside, the city hummed with life. Cars honked, cyclists weaved between. Buses and street vendors called out their wares. Alex spotted the corner of Elm Street up ahead, and his pace quickened. There, tucked between a bookstore and a florist, was the little coffee shop where he and Emma had first met. The sign above the door swung gently in the breeze. Alex stood still for a moment, letting the scene wash over him. The same green awning, the same wooden benches, the same promise of laughter waiting inside. He pulled open the door, heart pounding, and stepped into the warm glow. Today, he thought, humanity's greatest gift would shine. The power to reconnect, to rebuild, and to hope again. Alex stepped out of the coffee shop into the cool morning air, his heart full of warmth. He held Emma's hand gently and looked at her face, still struck by the same kindness he remembered. She smiled back, her eyes bright with comfort. For a moment, they just stood together, letting the city noise fade around them. The distance that once felt like a wall had dissolved into dust. Alex realized how strong humans could be when they followed hope, reaching across miles in silence to hold on to the people they cared about. They walked side by side down the quiet sidewalk, toward the old park. The sun filtered through the trees, casting golden patterns on the path. Alex spoke softly, telling Emma about the fears he felt before his journey, the worries that distance might break the bond they shared. Emma squeezed his hand and said she felt those doubts too, but every message and every plan had built a bridge between their hearts. They both laughed at how simple objects, like a sketch or a postcard, had become powerful tools of human connection. When they reached the park bench where they had once shared dreams of future adventures, Alex sat down and took a deep breath. He glanced at Emma and told her how proud he was of her mural, a symbol of hope that had inspired him through lonely nights. Emma nodded and admitted that his sketches and letters had given her courage when she felt overwhelmed. They both saw then that human will and creativity could light the darkest paths. In the simple act of sharing art and words, they had found a way to conquer distance. Emma reached into her bag and pulled out a small booklet she had made. Inside were pages filled with ideas for a shared project, a web gallery where they could post photos and stories of places they loved. Would be a space for friends, family, and strangers to connect through art and memory. Alex's eyes lit up at the thought. He imagined people across the globe finding comfort and inspiration in the gallery's entries. Together, they sketched rough designs on the back of a napkin, their excitement growing with every line and note. They left the park and walked toward the river, talking about all the ways they could make the gallery live. Alex proposed adding a journal feature where visitors could write their own stories of reconnection. Emma suggested a map showing submissions from different cities, like pins on a world chart. They paused on the bridge, looking down at the gentle current. Alex realized how small their worries had been against the vast currents of human effort and kindness. People had built canals and bridges across continents. Surely they could build a digital bridge between hearts. As the afternoon light softened, Alex and Emma sat at a riverside cafe and ordered tea. They made a plan to work on the gallery in their free time, sharing one another's worlds with each entry. Alex sketched the flow of the site on a napkin, and Emma drew simple icons for art, stories, and maps. They laughed as they argued about color schemes, and they agreed that the site's first entry would be the lighthouse mural and the Elm Street bench, the place where their story had begun. When it was time for Alex to return home, the farewell felt gentle instead of painful. On the train platform, Emma pressed a small USB drive into his hand. "Here," she said, "my early designs and notes. Use them however you like." Alex hugged her tightly, knowing he would carry the drive, and her heart with him. The train pulled away, but Alex watched Emma until she became a small figure on the platform. He felt no sadness, only a confident warmth that would last until their next meeting. On the journey back, Alex opened the USB drive and saw Emma's icons and sketches. He added his own notes, refining the gallery's layout and writing a welcome message. Each word and image pulsed with the same hope that had brought them together. He thought of all the human stories waiting to be shared, of friendships rekindled and new bonds formed. He closed his eyes for a moment and whispered a promise. To the rails beneath him, I will carry this connection wherever I go. When the train arrived at his city station, Alex stepped off feeling whole. He knew that distance was only a measure of miles, not of hearts. The project they built together would stand as proof of human unity, offering hope to anyone who felt. Alone, he walked home with a smile, ready to send messages, sketches, and journal entries into the world. Every step was a reminder that when people choose to reach out, to share, and to believe in one another, they create bridges stronger than any distance. And Alex knew that, no matter where life took him, hope would always guide him back to Emma.